You're watching the Batter Fans Network.
Welcome everybody to episode number 58 of the Better Morning Fans podcast. I'm here with David and alongside me, as always, Brandon Griffin. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, uh, conflicted, man. I'm sad the season's over, but what a way to end it, right? Peace
It
out,
was,
Mets.
it was an amazing way to end the season. We talked about it a couple weeks ago here on the show about
Yeah,
how it would be absolutely awesome if it came down to that last weekend for the Mets and the Marlins knock them out.
yeah, it was great. You know, those who haven't heard before, I coach my son's baseball team, so we're the Marlins this season. Had to fight for that name, but one of my assistant coaches is a diehard Mets fan, and so
Oh boy.
Saturday morning, we're out there coaching, and he's having to wear his Marlins gear. And I said, "Oh, maybe you should just convert, man, because I think Sunday's going to be real rough for you."
Well, it's funny because a lot of my cousins are Mets fans, and we were in a group chat, and we were all talking about how we probably go to that game on Friday. And two of them started talking to each other in that chat, and they were talking about how they're going to possibly have to request Saturday off because all they needed was 2 wins. So if they win on
Yeah.
Friday, they wanted to watch them clinch the playoff berth on Saturday. So, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's start. So, the last time we recorded, there was 2 series left: the Phillies and then the Mets. The very first game was rough. Ryan Weathers got lit up. Phillies
Yeah.
hit 8 home runs, I believe it was.
Mhm.
Something ridiculous. And I thought to myself, man, like, let's not like tank the last 6 games of the year. Let's go out on a high. That was my worry. They salvaged one of that game out of that series. What were your thoughts on the Philly series?
I thought it was. I thought we'd missed a really good opportunity to potentially pick up another win or two. I thought the Phillies didn't look great outside of that first game where they battered us. But the other thing I didn't realize until I guess it was yesterday is we were actually still just statistically alive for the playoff hunt until that Phillies series.
Yes, statistically, yeah. No, I mean nobody really
Yeah,
thought, and I remember that's when I started getting all those text messages from my Met fan cousins. They're like, "Oh, that's it. It's over for you guys." We knew it was over. We at no point did we expect to actually make it to the playoffs, even though statistically
yeah,
still alive.
yeah. Yeah, but it
All
was
right.
good to see Ryan back on the mound. It's been good to see him come back the end of the season and gives you a lot of hope for next season.
I think my favorite thing that came out of that Philly series, which didn't happen during the Philly series, but it happened. But the news broke as that series was going on was that the Marlins had decided to push back some of their starters for that Mets series, which I thought was absolutely awesome. The fact that they were going to load
Mhm.
up just to play spoilers against the Mets. Uh, so we move on to the Mets series. Here comes Friday. The Mets score, I think, too early. And oh my
Mhm.
God, I'm getting so much crap talked to me that because they scored early, everybody's celebrating early. And then the Mets met. What were your thoughts on the Mets series?
Um, in yesterday's press conference, McCullough had a really good quote that I'm going to steal, and he said, they asked him about pushing back Sandy and having Yuri, Sandy, and Eddie face the Mets, and he goes, "We owed it to the Mets to finish the season strong," and boy, did we! I mean, um, yeah, I mean, anytime you get to play spoiler, it's amazing, but even more so when it's the Mets. I mean, keeping them out of the playoffs is a really good capstone to the season, I think. Yeah.
No, what about the fact that I mean, although we beat them Friday, they beat us on Saturday, so it
Hmm.
came down to Sunday, and either Cincinnati won and the Mets were eliminated, but they were playing against the Brewers, and the
Yeah.
Brewers handled their business. So all the Mets needed to do was win, and in a must win, they get shut out 4-0. Like I think
Well,
that was the perfect way to end the season.
yeah, and I got and I think it ended poetically as well because Eddie walked himself into bases loaded jam, and pitched his way out of it. And I thought for a second I was like, "Oh God, Eddie's Eddieing." And then McCullough did the right thing, trusted Eddie to finish the inning and get out of there with the win, and that's what he did. And I think that was a perfect way to end the season. Like, just team played hard. Like, there was no, I couldn't complain about that last series against the Mets. I think everything was great. Our starters looked fantastic. Even Yuri, even though he got pushed around a little bit, I thought he played really, really well. And so did the position players. I mean, you got to see, anytime you get to see a little more Sanoha, it's always good. And I think he played well in the last series. And then X coming back from missing some time this season, and really hitting some really hard balls, some good line drives. And I think in our 2 wins, I think he was kind of the catalyst.
What did you think about the Mets commentating team saying that this was the World Series for the Marlins when he saw that they were taking a picture right there in front of the bullpen, or in front of the dugout?
Yeah. I think it's easy to say things like that when you're being petty and when you're a little upset that a team that nobody thought was going to pull them out of the postseason ended up doing it. Because if you looked at any of the articles going into Sunday, like MLB.com, The Athletic, they both listed the scenarios for the Mets to make the playoffs and for the Reds to make the playoffs, and nobody put in there Mets losing to the Marlins, because I don't think they thought it was going to happen. It could have been an oversight on both their staff's parts, but I really do think nobody thought the Marlins were going to finish them off like they did. And if you can't win a must-win game to get into the playoffs, you have to question whether that team would even do well in the playoffs, especially going to get up against the Dodgers. We probably just saved them some heartbreak, because they probably would have gotten swept.
For sure. And since the Mets, because it's funny, because they say it like if they were, I don't know, the Yankees, for example, like if they had a lot of success. But since they won their last World Series in '86, the Marlins have 2 championships, and they haven't even played every season since then. And so it's funny to hear the Mets talking like that. I mean, I get that they have a large payroll, so they have that over the Marlins, but they don't have the success over the Marlins. I mean, it's not like they're an every year playoff team. How many times have they even made the playoffs? I don't want to make this into a Mets podcast, but like that, I don't know. I know that they were just being petty, but it just annoyed me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Mets, all the swagger of the Yankees and none of the success, right? Like, they want to act like they're the Yankees, but they're just not. We'll catch flack for that, I'm sure. But if you're a Mets fan and you're listening to this, you probably should be listening to your own podcasts.
So since 2000, when they made it to the World Series and lost to the Yankees, they've made it since then. They've made it 1, 2, 3, 4. They've made it to the playoffs only 5 times. The Marlins 3 times, so not that far off. And then you throw in the Marlins got a World Series in that time also. So just wanted to put that into context. So the season's actually over, which is crazy for me to think, because I feel like it flew by. It was nice getting back on here, but we need to talk on just in general. Do you feel like this was a successful season? And to put that into context, I looked it up, and before the season started, Fangraph had this team projected at 71 and 91. And then BetMGM had the Marlins predicted to be the team that would get the fewest wins in the league.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I'm not talking nationally. I'm talking about major leagues. So they thought that they would be worse than the Colorado Rockies. And here we are. We almost made it to 80 wins. 2 games finished just slightly different. We end up at 500. Brenton, simple question. Was this a successful season for the Miami Marlins?
Yeah, I think so because including all the things you just mentioned, it was a 17 game improvement over last season as well. Um, and we did that we did that with contributors that nobody's ever heard of that are probably going to be major league mainstays from here on out. And if I told you like we were statistically eliminated from the playoffs, like in the second to last series of the game, and oh, by the way, our home run and RBI leader, Kyle Stowers, didn't play the last month and a half, 2 months of the season. Like you would take that. Like we
Absolutely.
really probably are. If you, I mean, and we can play what ifs all you want, but if Stowers doesn't get hurt, and you know, we very could be talking about a playoff berth for this team because you lost a lot of production when he went down, and I think anytime like you're sniffing the postseason for the whole season, like you've got guys overperforming, guys playing their hearts out on the team. Like, yeah, I think it's a success, especially where most people predicted that we would finish, including me. Like, I did not have the faith in this team that they clearly had in themselves for this season. And again, like, if I tell you, like, we did it without Braxton Garrett, we did it without Ryan Weathers for most of the season, we did it without Max Meyer. Like, we had a guy named Jansen Junk pitching every fifth day. Like, and on top of that, like we did it with a bullpen that, kept us in games, but we don't have a closer. Like, I think what did we have? Like saves. I think Flauscher had 15 saves for the season. Like we really don't have a closer. And I think we did great. Like we also did without Griffin Conine, another power bat that we lost early in the season. So I think it was absolutely a success. I mean, as a Marlins fan today, like I'm sitting here pretty happy with where we've come this season. And for the first time in a while, well, I shouldn't say a while because after we made the playoffs, I was pretty optimistic about the season after. But I'm really looking forward to what we do this offseason and to what we do going into next season because McCullough said it on his post game interview yesterday. He's like, this is kind of the building block into next season, and he laid out his rotation. He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have Sandy and Eddie and Yuri and Max and Ryan and Brax and even some other guys in the minor leagues getting ready to come up. And so to me, that says this team might actually make some moves and try to compete next season. And maybe we don't see the fire sale we've all kind of been dreading might be around the corner.
Well, that's another thing, right? Because that's what everybody dreads, like you said, and what everybody pokes fun of. Right? Oh, okay, you had a cute season, but let's get ready for the fire sale. And I'm really hoping that that's not what we're looking at in 2026 because I feel like this is something that you can build on. Like when you think about just the pitching rotation alone, this could be the best pitching rotation in the division.
Yeah,
Especially,
absolutely. And Junk and Quantrill did pretty good too. I mean, you can throw them in as a fifth starter, and I don't think anybody's complaining about that.
no. And I was looking here, and so at June 21st, 2025, we were 30 and 45, 15 games under 500. Since then, we went 49 and 38. 49 and 38, which would be top 10, I believe, win percentage in the league since then. So if they don't start so slow like they did this year. Or if in August, when Stowers goes down, because I remember after that Yankee series, which we kept saying was the peak of the season when that sweep, then they had like a rough patch for a couple of weeks. If they could just avoid some of that, which I know ifs and buts are pointless, but if in a hypothetical world we can avoid those, a slow start or just that bump on the road in August, this team could be talking about a wild card berth right now.
Yeah, I think so. And I think depending on what we do on the off season, right? Like we have a whole lot of front office maneuvering before we start our next season. But I think you end this season with dreams and hopes of play a playoff berth next season. I think with the way this team's played and the players that we guaranteed to have coming back next season, um, I'm going to start expecting this team to make the playoffs next season.
I think that's where we're at. I think next season
Yeah,
we go in with that expectation. Will they achieve it? I don't know, because I don't know if the Braves will be off again like they were this year. The Phillies are the Phillies. The Mets are going to go ahead and spend another $1 billion in the offseason to try to put some patchwork on whatever the hell's going on over there in Queens. So it's not going to be easy. But, I mean, when you have arms, you have a chance in this league. So looking into
yeah.
next season, the pitching staff, help me out here. Sandy, Yuri, Ryan Weathers, Braxton Garrett,
Eddie, you got to put
Eddie.
Eddie in
I
there.
always forget Eddie Cabrera, even though I think he
Max
might get dealt
Meyer,
in the offseason. Max
I
Meyer, I
think
think Eddie
so,
might
but
get dealt. He might get done, but Max Meyer, like you have
yeah,
1 to 5, you have solid starts. No matter who's there, what day of the week it is, you're gonna have a solid starter out there. I'm excited.
yeah, absolutely. And you've got like a guy like Thomas White who's made it up to AAA that I would expect to see in big league camp in the spring too, competing for that fifth spot. You've got Quantrill and Junk, who those two have earned the right to compete for a spot in the rotation. Even if like one of those two guys, you end up putting them in the bullpen as a long reliever, like you end up upgrading your bullpen there. And so,
I don't think
yeah,
Quantrill
I
comes
think
back.
you don't think so?
No, I don't
We'll
think so.
see.
But I mean, he wasn't consistent this year. But I just, even if he doesn't come back, I think the starting rotation is going to be great. You get Conine back,
Yeah.
you get Stowers back. All of a sudden, you have a
Yeah.
squad. You have a squad with expectations, and it's going to be very interesting to see what they do, because I think 2026 is going to be completely different. Because I feel like we overachieved. The Miami Marlins overachieved this season, especially looking back in February, where the news was going circulating all over social media. The Miami Marlins have spent $0 this offseason. And Jesus, I saw that so often back in February. And look, almost made it to 80 wins, which is still under 500, right? Like people say, oh, that's a loser mentality. No, it's a Miami Marlins mentality.
Yeah. Yeah, it
So,
is. And like you said, we spent $0 in the off season and it bought us 17 more wins. It's wild to think that way. And I think I don't know. I think next season, my only thing is I hope we go out and get a first baseman. I think we need a little more production from first base. Um, and I think that would really help us bridge the gap to the playoff round, especially like when you get Stowers and Niner back. Like those are going to be two big additions, and you're almost going to run into the problem of who do you play in the outfield every day,
mm-hmm. And Triple A's
and
not
do
looking
you
bad.
No, well, AAA, we just won the AAA championship. Jacob
Mm-hmm.
Berry just walked it off. And he might be a guy we might see him up at some point next season. He's kind of turned things around with his transition to the outfield. Yeah, there's a lot of talent in AAA, so I think there's a lot of hope for next season, a lot of reason to be positive. Um, but there's gonna be a lot of competition in the spring too, because not only do we have the guys that made the team this season, but we got the guys that are gonna be healthy, the guys in AAA. Like you want that level of competition as an organization, which the Marlins probably have never had this much congestion at the top of
Yeah.
their organization and this much talent. So we'll see what happens. But Augustin Ramirez better start working on his catching this offseason, all I have to say, because he
Yeah,
probably won't
because
be the DH next
yeah,
season.
let's say, because all he is a bat right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to work on that defense. That would be
Yeah.
my one thing with a big thing to watch this offseason, because him being slotted in as the DH is no guarantee with Griffin coming back and Stowers, and you're gonna have to try and figure out how to play four outfielders every game, and one of them's gonna take up that DH spot, probably not Augustin.
Um, what a difference a year makes. Because last October, we would have never be talking about congestion, the
Yeah.
hoping for the playoffs the following season. You got to give Bendix a lot of credit for what he did with the roster, because I mean, I was hating on him. I'm not gonna lie, and here
Oh,
we
yeah.
are, 12 months later, and look, we are very optimistic going in. And I think this is the best I've felt after a Marlins season um, in a while, because even after that playoff um, run in 2023, I
Yeah.
didn't think that this team, although I thought it looked good, but you had like guys like Bell and Berger, like they were older
Yeah.
guys that I just okay, they're okay. But I feel like we have legit young talent that's gonna grow together, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and when Bendix was hired, you and I were very vocal in the defense of Kim Yang, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, obviously she did great things for the organization, but Bendix has literally rebuilt us from the ground up.
Yeah.
And some of his trades and things like that we didn't understand at the time, but it's worked out beautifully. And you really do have hope for the future, because everybody who contributed to this team pretty much is young and controllable. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
really, like, from the position players, like, I can't think of anybody who I would say probably isn't going to be on this team next year. You
No.
know, maybe like a guy like Dane Myers, if somebody makes the right offer and we can make the team better, he might move on just because we have so much outfield talent. But we'll probably have just, a really great future.
All right. Well, it's a wrap for the 2025 season. 2026 is looking bright, and we are very optimistic. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
I don't know, just I guess now's the time to just be a baseball fan, right? Like, we can put our Marlins gear away, just enjoy the postseason, because October baseball is always better. So just enjoy the season, or enjoy the postseason. Kind of maybe feel good this offseason about going and getting a player's name on the back of your jersey this year. I think, we've got some guys who'll be sticking around, and
If you had to
yeah.
pick one name on the back of your jersey, who would it be?
Ooh, um, I'll stay away from the easy stuff because Yuri would probably be the one. But
I was about to say Yuri's the easy choice, huh?
you know who I might go with? Is either Xavier Edwards or Otto Lopez. One of the guys up the middle.
Stowers is probably an easy pick, also, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Niner would be cool too. I wouldn't mind having a Griffin Co-9 jersey.
I mean, that's a good one just because of the legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I like
Who
that
would
one
you
too.
get?
I was gonna say Stowers, but like you said, that's an easy
Yeah.
pick. I guess Conine, like I said, because of the legacy, I think that's a really cool. I think, but I don't like getting names on the back of my baseball jerseys.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, I just they move around too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I can't believe that's a wrap for the season. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll be back at some point during the off season. Hopefully, we have some type of something happen. Even
I'm sure we will.
just to have something to talk about.
I'm sure it'll be
But
more active this offseason than last. But you know what else we should probably mention
huh,
is with this postseason run, let's everybody should try and watch Clayton Kershaw. Obviously not
no,
a guy who ever played for the Marlins, played for the Dodgers his entire career.
mhm.
But probably, if not the best pitcher of our generation, probably up there, top three. So as he
Most
winds
consistent
down
for
his
sure.
career, yeah, as he winds down his career, his Hall of Fame career, check him out. I find it hard to root for the Dodgers, but um, you know, we're seeing one of the greats leave the game, and it's always tough to see that.
Well, talking about players that you might want to watch in the playoffs, I don't know how much love most Marlins fans still have for Giancarlo Stanton, but he's ending the season hot for the Yankees. So, and he has had a better postseason career than anybody on the Yankees over the last decade. I'd say he puts Judge to shame in the postseason. So if you want to see an ex-Marlin duel, Giancarlo Stanton's always fun to watch. Can I give you one gripe before we get out of here?
Yeah.
I love baseball, mostly because I grew up watching it. I understand why people complain that 162 games is too long. I get it, because those dog days of the summer are pretty brutal sometimes.
Yeah.
But one thing that I absolutely hate is that after watching your team for 162 games, that if you make it into the wild card, it could end in 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's ridiculous. Baseball is a sport that gets played every day. You could extend that to a 5-game series. Even that, I would like a 7-game series, but at least a 5-game series. The fact that you can 162 games just clinching your butt and just hoping and praying that you make it to the postseason, and the fact that it can be done in literally the playoffs start tomorrow on Tuesday.
Yeah.
By Wednesday, your season could be over, even though you busted your butt for 162 games. The Yankees and the Red Sox are playing, and they both won. I don't know if the Red Sox made it to 90 wins. The Yankees made it to 94 wins. Those two teams played very well all season. They could be done by Wednesday. I don't know, man. They got to extend to at least a 5-game series.
Well, it's like the Marlins in 23. Like,
yes,
you remember, like, we were all like, the 4 of us were all like going and buying playoff tickets, and we were so excited to see like a playoff game, and we didn't even get a home game.
Nope.
Like, they really need to rethink it, because you're right. Like, they really do need to give the opportunity for the fans to at least get to see their team at home play once. Like, if we played a 5-game series, we would have gotten at least one home game. We all could have seen the game, and if we lose to the Braves, we lose to the Braves. But seeing our team play in the playoffs live and like at home, like, just that would have been awesome. And you're right.
Yeah,
they need to fix that.
I remember, was it Cali that purchased or did you purchase it also, the playoff shirt? And then you guys received
I got
it
the
like
playoff shirt, and I
way
got
after
it
they had been eliminated.
like a month after we were eliminated. And I have the playoff hat too with the postseason patch, and yeah, and I wear it. I wear it every now and then because it's a fun memory. But yeah,
for sure.
You don't get that in time. And then obviously we bought the playoff tickets and never got to go because we got eliminated. But so we gotta try harder next time.
Well, it's been fun. It was fun coming back, talking a little battered Marlins, and we'll be back at some point during the off season. Hopefully, there's moves to be spoken about, but I'm looking forward to next season, and the future looks bright in my opinion.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be. I think we're into a great era of Marlins baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be awesome. If you're listening on audio, we appreciate you listening to the end. Please leave us 5 stars and comment. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, and we will be back at some point. Enjoy the postseason. We're going to enjoy the postseason, and then we'll be back to talk a little off-season baseball. So until the next one, have a good one.